Hi everybody, Patrick from Patty Melts here, and I have been putting this off for just about as long as I could, but today what we're going to be doing is finally installing the hubs to be able to use the AMS2 Pros on my two Bambu Lab A1s. So we're going to be saying goodbye to our very dependable, reliable AMS light, but that's okay because we're going to use it when we travel with the the A1 Mini. So the AMS light isn't going by forever, but it is going by to our home setup. So here's a quick look. We've got our pieces and all of our parts laid out in our first A1, but we do also need to make some improvements to it while we have it here up on the bench. So let's jump into it. First thing we need to do is get this powered on. It hasn't powered on in quite a bit because I need to move the Z-axis up. All right, let's get this going. Control XYZ. Please home it. All right, go ahead. Be my guest. All right, appears to be homed. Let's get that Z up a bunch, because we're going to need to be working on the X-axis here. That's what I was thinking about in order to access this. We're going to go just about all the way up. Oh, it's going to continue going up. All right, we're there. I'm going to go ahead and shut the power off and then disconnect it from power to be safe. Okay, so you can kind of see what the issue is here. Is the first time I installed this, I didn't do a great job, and it runs along the bottom of the X-axis here, and it does a great job lighting things up, and it really does it in a brilliant way. There is a light sensor here built in on this little board. It covers the light. When you turn your system light on for the A1, it'll trigger the light bar, and then it has to go into power here from this strip, and that's going to bring these into play here in a bit. But the first thing I need to do is kind of get this off, get it cleaned up. I'm not going to reuse this one. I did go ahead and pick up a couple more brand new ones that have, you know, good strong adhesive, because unfortunately I think I wore it out there. I'm going to go ahead and move the tool head over. This is kind of a precarious... Let's see if we can slide it all the way over here. Okay, cool, we can. And I think that's pretty much out of the way. So we're gonna just kind of, oh man, that's on there good. Really should have gloves on, but oh man, we're gonna have a nice cleanup job for ourselves here. Okay, oh, we busted one of the LED. Yeah, this is not really meant to come off here and go back on. So, well, we got it off pretty much. No harm, no foul. Pretty interesting strip. I'm going to reuse this for something. I'm willing to bet that would go back on too, but this will get repurposed in another project. We'll set it aside for now. Let's get this cleaning swab set up with some alcohol here. You know, a little bit in the reservoir there. Let me get under here and start seeing if we can get some of this adhesive to come off, because that's going to need to be scraped there. Let me get this all off of there. I was missing a couple pieces from the setup, so I did go ahead and grab my plastic razor blade. These things are one of the most helpful tools in my shop, and we went ahead and put on some of the alcohol here just to try to... This is isopropyl alcohol. This is 99%, so pretty strong. Just trying to get some of that on there, get it moistened up. Got a paper towel on the bed so we don't mess that up. Let's see if I can just, oh yeah, that's coming off real easy. That is really on there. I didn't realize that this would be one of the harder parts. That's a great adhesive, but I really want to make sure it's clean so that the next one sticks on there. I'm definitely going to have to grease the X-axis there. We don't want that messed up. So we're just about got it all. We are fresh and clean on the underside of that rail there. And so now we've got the new one here. Let's go ahead, get it open. I remember the last time I put this on, I wasn't in this space. And I remember that I was really quite nervous. I think it was one of the first things I ever did to my printer. So I understandably, oh, we're dropping zip ties. I understandably was a little freaked out. Oh, we need some snips. Let me go grab those. I just remember that I wasn't taking my time. I was nervous, so I was rushing through it. And so, and I didn't have a proper setup to really service these machines. So here's what I was talking about earlier. So you can really see that sensor. Hopefully we zoom right in there. That picks up the light. And then there's some 3M adhesive that sticks to this part of the machine. And I also made sure to hit that with some IPA. And let's get this off, making sure not to cut the wires. That'd be bad. And whatever adhesive this is, whew, it is strong. Shang Chong tape 9488A. This stuff was really difficult to get off. What a beautiful LED strip. I think these things are art. I love all the pieces on them. Look at all the little, I've got the LED, I've got the copper, these little chips on there. It's brilliant to me. It fascinates me. So let's get this strip going. And I want to take my time here and make sure we do this part right. Now I'm remembering one of the issues I was having. So around this spot, there isn't a very good place for this to grab onto. There isn't any material that comes out, and so it has a hard time sticking because it's so shallow there. There isn't anything that pops out, but I think we have something to help that. So I wonder if I put one of these on there and trim it up, if it'll help it connect better. Let me take a look at this. I'd rather do this right the first time than to have the same issues and then have this dangling off like it was before. So I think, you know, let's hope that I don't cut my finger off here, but I think if we just trim that piece around and try to get it to fit, that we'll have a much better go at it. I don't really have the skills at this point in my crafting journey to really measure that piece there and make it fit, because we obviously need the light sensor, the light to be able to hit the light sensor. So I'm just going to crudely cut out like a banana shape here, and we'll see if we can pull that off, just kind of eyeing it. It looks to be really thin there, and then it kind of flanges out. Again, trying really hard not to cut my fingers here. Let's get it out of the way. And let's see. We might not have gone all the way through there. No. Let's hold that down. It gets really thin right there, and then kind of comes out. Let's see. Always retract that blade. Let's take a peek here. Okay. Let's take a look and see. Da-da-da. All right, that might be good enough. Kind of looks like I gave it a haircut. Hey, man, that's not bad. That is not bad. Let's take a look at that. That is not bad at all. It does kind of looks like Tina from Bob's Burgers. All right, let's give it a go. So doing some dry fitment tests, I can see it's just kind of a precarious little spot there, but I can see that it has a lot more to grab onto. I can just feel it with my thumb than it did before. So I think we're good here. I see a little bit of it coming out right there at the top. So let's trim that little piece actually. Nothing like, you know, cutting a razor blade directly into your machine. Let's just trim. There's a lot of time we've spent here fiddling with this, but let's go for it. Got the Tape here, because you really only get one crack at that adhesive. So this is the issue I was having last time, is it, you know, it doesn't fit this piece particularly well. And I remember last time it coming off. So I'm going to hold it here. Okay, this is incredibly frustrating. I thought that maybe this was causing bonding issues, and it very well may be, but I took it off and the adhesive didn't like the plastic either. So I think what we're going to do is try to get it on there a different way. So I think what I'll do is we'll just kind of pre-put this strip on there where it's supposed to go. And I think the strip is going to help us out quite a bit. But I'm going to pre-apply this so that when it's up there, I'm not putting this in the wrong position. So let's give that a go. This is where my finger dexterity really starts to hurt me. I kind of suck at stuff like this. Like they didn't put a relief cut in it for the sticker. Like if I didn't know how good this light looks on the printer, I wouldn't be fiddling with this. And this is kind of like has been my experience, unfortunately, with this company, is that they just need a little bit more refinement in their products. BIQU, they make good products, but it just, some areas like this, it's just kind of faltering, right? So that's fine. We can make it work. They include those tiny zip ties. Where on earth is this going? I can't mess with that axis. Where on earth would this wrap? Come on, y'all, you're killing me. All right, we have hodgepodge this on there. And now remembering all the problems I had last time with it. So we only get one go at this part. And I'm sorry if the camera isn't really catching it. The next thing I'd like to do is get my Pandanomi back to being installed. And so you'll notice that the face cover is off here. I have saved it here in the drawer. This one is really silly. This really doesn't do a ton, but I do like some of the animations. It kind of shows that, you know, it's purging. I really hope that in the course of taking it off and storing it for all this time, I haven't damaged the screen. I did damage the screen the first time and had to actually exchange it. And so it just has a little pin connector here, and then it runs on a cable. And all of these connections are one of the reasons that we need the Panda branch, which we'll be getting into here in a little bit, because we have multiple things drawing power. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's a lot drawing power off of this machine, but the LED lights aren't pulling a bunch. The Pandanomi isn't pulling a bunch. And hopefully, I don't know, the hub is going on too. I've kind of looked at the voltage, and I don't think that it's going to spike or peak or anything. So we're just going to have to wait and see, though. That would be horrible, but that'd make for great content if we fry the A1, huh? So let's get everything connected here and make sure those pins are going to go in right. All right, that is so tiny. All right, it goes in like this. Get it to click in. Click. And then I remember, oh shoot. Now I remember from last time what I had to do. Oh, bollocks. Okay, you've got to route it through here first. Okay, I know you can't see it, but I was able to get the little coupler back on without breaking anything, hopefully. So we won't know until we get everything connected. So next up is the Panda branch. Let's get this Panda branch unboxed. So this is Big Tree Tech. They're a sister company of BIQU. So let's see what comes in here. They like to put rubber duckies in here. I don't own a Jeep, so I don't have much use for that. But this this rubber ducky is kind of giving Steve Buscemi and Billy Madison vibes. So we might hang on to that. That looks fun. They got a little card in here. They've got the 4-pin. They have some metric screws. And then here is the board. And it looks like, oh, that, nope, it isn't sealed. And so we're going to get this mounted. Let's take a look at it. So we've got 4 pins, 4 USBs, and then it looks like they've got the amp breakdown here. You probably won't be able to see that, but they do have it spelled out. And pretty well laid out board. Pretty good PCB here. Very clear, very clean. Got it all broken down. Neat. Man, that is legit. Okay, let's get this installed. I'll show you how that goes. So I did have this installed on here before, and this was the one that BIQU, the file that they gave on their GitHub. But I had such a hard time. I probably had to print this 4 times because it prints in this orientation and all of the little pieces here fell off, and this one is shaky. So someone had redesigned it on MakerWorld. Thankfully, it prints in the opposite orientation. So not quite as nice on the face, but it prints like this. So it's really strong and sturdy. And originally when I had printed it, I had just printed it in regular PLA. I did this in Bambu's PLA Tough. So to give it a bit more rigidity. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to get this mounted here on the A1. And there's a separate file, and I'll make sure to put all these up on the screen. There's a separate file that comes with a mounting bracket here that makes things a lot easier. So I just have to believe this is the orientation right here. And there's a screw hole, and you can see that there's some mounts. So I just have to check that out before we start trying to affix something, because the problem with this one, and Teaching Tech did a good job in his video of showing this, is on the A1 Mini, it mounts a lot better. On this one, there is a strap to keep it wrangled in here on the bottom, but otherwise then it's just kind of like, you know, flapping in the wind on there, and you don't want that with vibration over time. So let me get some of these things mounted and laid out, and I'll show you how that goes. So here's what I've come up with. I was trying to dry fit all of this, and I got to make sure that everything needs to fit here. So we have the enclosure bottom, we have the enclosure top, we have the PCB with the ports. They include this screw kit, but I was mathing it all out, and I'm like, okay, that's not quite a bit, so I'm gonna have to hodgepodge this together, which isn't great because I'm not new to metric. I manufactured board games in China for almost a decade. I am new to metric hardware, so I'm trying to figure out what's going to go where. And I remember the first time I did this, I split the plastic, and then you're done, because some of these are tapped for drill. I'm going to say this wrong. Please correct me. Some of them are pointed, some of them are flat. But I do also have some screw sets here in my drawer, and I did figure that this, and tried it, that this little ombre worked really good to tap into the A1, and then I'm not drilling into that, and I was missing that piece. So we have to connect all of this and make it work. So, and then we have the top, and the top has to go in. It's tricky. So let's do it in the order that we need to do it. First things first, let's go ahead and get the bracket installed. And I made sure that I had to take this piece of padding I had off of there for the first time this was on there. It wasn't going to make it bend, and you don't want this piece to bend. So let's get that installed. That seems to be on there pretty good. I'm happy with that. Looks to be straight. All right, let's get the next thing connected. And then I did this dry to make sure we got the board in there. We have the top, and then the indicator light right here is still showing. So we need to, I was looking at this, and it's a little offset from the print. I don't know how well you can see that, but that hole is just a little offset. I'm not wild about that, but it is what it is at this point. So hopefully if I move the USB over a little bit, it works. So we need to, but then I'm not going to be able to access it when it's inside here. We need to get all of those put in, and then these screws go around the collar. So let's get the collar installed. So this goes around. In my dry test, I wrap that right into the Z screws. So that sits on there like that. And this is going to become the bottom collar for it to go in like this. That's pretty secure. Like I'm not trying to take it off, but I'm not upset with that. I think we're good. I think this is good. It's in there. It's not moving around. All right, well, we'll worry about the other one, and I'll let you know how it goes when we wrap up the video, but I'm pretty happy with that. Cool. Okay, thankfully, my, I wouldn't call it hoarding, but I knew that I was going to need these zip ties at some point. So let's unpack all these zip ties, because they didn't include enough in the kit. They included these small ones, but I've got these bigger ones, because we're going to have to do this times 2. And so let's get all those zip ties out, and then we can start to connect all the things. So this is the, and we'll route these through, and we'll, where did that little ombre go? There they are. So I don't know if the other one has it on there. We've got our little parts drawer here, all our spare parts, but these will hold all the wires together. We'll worry about that. I'm going to toss those in there so we don't lose them. But we got to get these all connected, right? So we have the, I believe this is our LED. So we're just going to loosely put this on there until we get everything connected. I'm not going to zip tie anything. So let's put this one in the first 4-pin. And I don't dare not hold that in while I do it. Okay, we got the first 4-pin in, and then this is for the Panda Nomi. And let's route that through as well. We'll put that in the second. That drag chain's really really not doing me any favors. Let's get that second 4-pin in. Boy. If I had better finger dexterity, this would go a lot easier, but I don't. So you get to watch me struggle. All right. We got that second one in. And then this is one that connects then to the A1 itself. And I know that we're going to need one more for the hub and the AMS. So I think we're going to be, oh, shoot. I meant to do that other one. There we go. Okay. I was going to say that's really cutting it close, but we should be good there. So we'll put this one in as the third one. Okay. And then this one can go in here. And then we're ready to connect the AMS now. That was a lot of pre-work. And on the other one, I've got to put a drag chain on. Not because I want it to look cool. I always worry about how that's going to affect the cord, but it's been fine. This has almost 1,000 hours on it. But what it does do is when we have it here in our setup, which you can't see, it looks like a dark dungeon in there right now. It flanges out way far. And so this keeps it kind of corralled. I do worry about all of these, but we're gonna zip tie that into a situation that works. And we're just gonna see, right? Like, these are the accessories we want. We'll adjust as we go. So currently the plan is this. The AMS2 Pros are both gonna live right here. And we have the PTFE tube, and you see on this one, it's coming down the back. And I think that where it connects on the hub is going to easily connect right here. And we're not going to have any crazy bends, I don't think, because that will obviously produce errors and failures. There will be tension errors And so we're just going to have to be really careful. The other thing I was considering is if that's an issue, I will drill through this thin cabinet shelving. It's wood, particle, and just bore a hole through there, put a grommet on it to protect it, and drop it. But I think we're going to be okay just running it down the back. I am so thankful that I picked up these AMS 2 Pros when I did, back when I got my H2S, in anticipation of this project, even though that was, 3 months ago, because now they're out of stock, or the secondhand market is out of control. So let's pop in, and we got our PTFE tube on the back, carefully tucked around so it doesn't do anything. We got our pin connectors, extra PTFE tubes, the desiccant packs, and what you're going to see here is that I have printed some desiccant holders for long-term storage. I have these in my other two that are connected to my H2S and my H2D, and these all tuck in there quite nicely and provide a lot more drying. I think I had that in there backwards. A lot more, yeah, there we go. A lot more drying longevity. So you'll see inside this. This is so much of a better setup because now you can repair those. I haven't had, knock on wood, haven't had any issue yet with the AMS 2 Pro. So let's get all these filled and then we'll get it connected. I'm excited. Okay. And I'm going to do a second video. I think I'm going to make a short on desiccant and kind of how to go about that process and what you need to avoid. But this is the desiccant that I use, and I just get it on Amazon in bulk. I actually get it in a bigger container, and then I funnel it down to this one because I use quite a bit. And I recharge it. I just haven't started that process yet because it lasts quite a bit of time. And we got to put a hygrometer in there. So in the kerfuffle of everything, I forgot to actually, with dealing with all of the Panda branch and the Panda Nomi and the LED bar, the whole reason that you came here today, hopefully, I mean, I don't know why you showed up, but thank you for being here, was to get the AMS Hub mounted. So good grief, Patrick, the struggle is real. So the one thing you're going to want to do that the wiki will remind you is make sure that has some play in it. So just a quick word of advice, like these little clips, Bambu provides the file for these, but these little clips, like you can see that one printed, it printed sideways. And so when I printed these on my H2S and it didn't do the best job, and then I printed them in the opposite orientation. The clips look a little suspect there, so I'm not quite sure. I think I'll go with the one they probably printed it that way so that the connector was more strong. And while the other one looks better on the bottom, I think this one's going to perform better. So let's get that in there. Oh. All right, and then make sure that has movement, and it does. And then it gets installed. And I believe it goes on like that. Let's take a peek at the other side and see what's going on. That don't feel super strong. Does it maybe go on like this? That don't feel super strong either. I don't like that at all. Let's go back and look. So they do provide parts for both the A1 and the A1 Mini, and I was very careful not to print the wrong one. So I've got a couple of them here. I want to just verify all the sizes, and maybe some of them just came out funky. So it looks like those all line up, you know, really well. I don't know what the issue is here with this one, right? But I mean, I confirmed it does go on like this, and then you look around to the other side, and I mean, the only place, like, it's obviously not coming out that far. Like, there's no way it's meant to grab right there. It's meant to grab right here, and so this is just not particularly great. So let's try another one and see if that issue kind of is suffered by all of them. Now this one's a lot tighter. Okay, well, this is why I printed extra pieces, right? One of these is smaller for the A1, but none of these are. But now we know this one fits. So let's go about the business of getting that one on. We're not moving at all there. Cool. That works really good. And then I do know that it goes on with the PTFE adapters, the 4 and 1 there, and then goes in. Oh, come on. Like that. Cool, we're installed. And then this will go from the back here to the printer. And then the one that I have connected to the AMS will come down and will, heavy, will go into the 6 port here. So let me get it all connected. Let me knock the second A1 out, and I will meet you back when we are ready to fire it up. I'm excited. I'm excited for real this time. Excited for real. Okay, I'm a fibber again because I was like, you know what? Let me show you how I manage all this, because it's going to be quite a bit of wires that we got floating around here, and we don't want these all just hanging out loosey-goose. So let's get the primary ones connected here. And if you notice on this, there's a smaller one. I think, yeah, that one's for that. And then we'll slide this up. We want to be careful with that one. And then we'll put this one in. And let's keep it over here because I know we're going to have a PTFE tube to deal with. This way I have an idea of, and that's got to move. So let's test it. And this is something I forgot to do last time. It's a good idea. Test when the tool head is all the way slid over, how those fit. So we can make sure to have the right slack in there. Okay, and then let's bring it back over. All right, so now let's figure out how we're going to zip tie this bad boy. Kudos to whoever thought these up. Yeah, look at that. That's pretty snug, but some looseness there. And I don't think that'll go anywhere. And let's go ahead and boop. Excellent. Let's I think we're done. I think I can actually go put it over in its final resting place. Man, I make it sound like it's dying. It's not dying. It's going to come to life. So Spulio Iglesias will live again, connected to an AMS2. All right, for real. I'm going to go put it over there. I'm going to knock out the second A1, get its drag chain installed, get its light bar on. It's not getting a Panda Nomi, but we also have to put the Panda branch on. And then I will, I promise, I will meet you on the other side. All right. Well, the bad news is I could not get the LED to stick anywhere on there. And the other bad news is that I couldn't get that guide to cooperate. So we're going to skip that and jump right in. We've got everything connected here. You can see the wires running in the back. The AMS2s are both plugged in and flashing because we don't have the firmware installed yet. So let's get this firmware installed on both of these, and then we should be able to use them. So it's switching over. Okay, and as you can see, it has switched over to the new AMS type, and we're no longer, oh no, I guess they are flashing still, but I don't think that means anything. Let's go ahead and get them loaded up. I cleaned off the beds, but I'm going to go ahead and power cycle the printers just because I'm hoping that that'll maybe make the red lights flashing. I'm not getting an error anywhere, but let's go ahead and power cycle those. Ow. That hit. That's no good. Okay. Go ahead and power cycle these back on. And see if the AMS cooperates. Ignore the Panda Nomi. I couldn't get it to bind to the printer. I'm going to mess with it later. Which is a pity because I really wanted you to see the fun face. Alright. Are we still flashing on the AMS? No. We are lit up as normal. Cool. So it cleared the error, which is what I was expecting it to do. Let's get them loaded. And let's run a test print through there. See if there's any kinks, any tension errors. And we'll go from there. Both going at the same time, hoping they're not too close. I did test the y-axis to make sure that they were back far enough. I'm kind of just watching that PTFE tube and what it's doing. I'm wondering if this drag chain is going to pinch it there when it comes all the way down. It might be time for that to come off. Oh, let's see if you can see the, oh, do you see the LED now? That's how cool it is. So if it were dark in here, it'd be lighting this whole thing up. It really does help you see the bed. I have one more in the wrapper, but I don't have any faith left in that product. I thought maybe it was like the temperature of the metal. So I like put my hand on the metal to try to warm it up and then wipe it off with a little IPA in case there was grease on there. So I'm gonna let these run. I'm gonna keep an eye on them. You can see the filament coming through. The filament's through on here too. Let's see how it goes. I did go ahead and push the AMS to both of them back a little bit more to create some more slack in that line, hoping that you know, gives it a little bit more of a safe bend. We'll see. I'm going to keep watching it. I am going to go ahead and remove this drag chain tomorrow before I use this printer again. I don't like how much, like that will cause a bend over time, right? So it's not happening over here because I don't have it. So I just worry about that drag chain getting caught on this as it's moving, but I could always slide that over. This one's already off and printing, so that's going well. So I think I'm going to call this a success, everybody. I am really excited and really happy about this. This is great. I am so excited to have these up and going. It's really exciting to not have to worry about the filament getting moist. And I know these numbers are high, but that's just because, you know, this hasn't really been going. It's not really that humid in there, I don't think. Right? That desiccant's all in there. I'm sure it's just, it'll equalize over time. So yeah, I'm going to call this a success. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Have you put an AMS2 or an AMS or an AMS-HT, can't talk tonight, have you put that on your A1 yet, or your A1 Mini? If so, drop a comment below. Let me know how that went for you. I would love to know also your opinion on Bambu making you print part of the parts for the hub. Like, why couldn't they have injection molded some of those and included them in the box, right? I have mixed feelings about that. Let me know how you feel. And please, Go out this week, stay in, but whatever you do, please create, please make something, because you are so very worth the investment. Have a great week, everybody. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do, oh, no, scrap this. It's not going to let me use that as a monitor. That's dumb. That's dumb.